Anyway.
All right, clowns.
Clowns.
Speaking of clowns.
Please stop clowning around. Stop
Wow.
this madness.
Okay, so I'm glad we started with such a happy topic because my next one is pretty heavy.
Hit me.
I thought we were talking about... Yeah, I'm ready.
We're talking about white helmets.
White.
White helmets.
The white helmets.
You said it's really serious, but then you say that funny voice.
Yeah, well, the tricky part in this part is me not getting emotional because I was very impacted by this.
Yeah,
for a while.
same.
So if I start to like pause, it's because I'm trying not to cry.
Me too.
Okay, so
Why are you laughing? It doesn't sound genuine at all.
you guys haven't seen it. You don't
Yeah,
know.
you don't know.
You don't know. It's 40 minutes of just. Anyway, so let me backtrack. Let me take you to the beginning.
Rewind.
Netflix. I talk about it a lot because it has a lot of great content, and it has a trending section. And one of the things that was trending this week.
Trend settings.
What? Thanks, Chris. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, send us one of those likes and we'll see it float across the screen in a fancy way.
Whoa!
Anyway, Netflix has a trending section. And lo and behold, this week, there was a documentary called The White Helmets. And I was like, cool. Like, let's watch people build buildings or something. Like, I was like, this looks so lame. But
That's funny.
this is a 40-minute documentary that will change the way you think about human life in general.
Wow.
Yeah.
I agree.
There was a lot of pauses.
So
Yeah.
it takes place in Syria, which we have talked about before, but this was so good it needed its own topic.
Syria.
So, I'm trying to think of how to talk about it without spoiling it.
What is it about?
So, okay, yeah. What is it about? The group of people called the White Helmets are these volunteers in Syria who, whenever an airstrike happens, they go to where the airstrike is and try to save people. So they're like firemen for bombs. Does that work as an analogy?
And
Like
are
the first
they-
response, they're going through the
and the
rubble.
volunteers?
Yeah,
So they're
Not
trying
anymore.
to get to people
yeah.
who are
They're a proper
Trapped.
organisation now, I think.
But what the movie does is it takes it from the perspective of one team
Yeah.
and kind of follows them. And like the first thing in the movie is, I'm going to try not to be too spoilery, but I'm going to be a little bit spoilery. Because honestly, if you're faint of heart, don't watch it.
Well, no, definitely do.
I was honestly like weeping the whole time. I'm not even
Definitely watch
exaggerating. But it starts up like it's not gory. There's barely any blood. But the imagery is super impacting. So it's like X-rated on imagery, but like G-rated in language.
Is it
And, like,
actual
normal.
footage from Syria?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So it starts off with people walking through a thing and then getting blown up.
Ooh.
Like not a set piece, like it's the actual footage of them getting bombed.
Hmm.
And then you're just like, all right, this is this kind of movie. And then
Documentary, right?
yeah, documentary. Sorry, but I think it still counts as a movie for the
Yeah.
documentary, right?
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to say anything before I get more into it? Because he watched it as well.
I'm into it already. I'm already there. I'm with you. It's
That's a no.
It's hard to make light of this one,
It is.
which we are, but
No, you don't have
it's super heavy.
no.
good.
That I just want to tell everybody to watch it, please, because it is an amazing.
to. How did it change your views of that wall?
It's not.
Did you
Changing-
were you guys like quite aware of stuff that was happening there?
There's kind
before?
of 3 mini stories in it.
Yeah.
2 of them are super like depressing and hard and just like kick you in the balls. Like I'm still thinking about it. And one of them's really like happy, but even more impacting because of how bad the other ones were.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of interviews with the people, and they're such good guys. Like they're
just
not
guys.
They're not militants.
They're just guys.
They're like, it starts off in their family's home, and then they kind of, one of them walks to the other's house and is like, hey, is your dad home? And he's like, yeah, come down. And he's like, oh, these guys are going to go to the market or something. And then and then it's just like, and then like instead of like running away from bombs like you would, right,
Right.
they like all hop into the car and friggin' charge towards the bomb.
Wow.
And they're so good at what they do, they know what it is just by the sound. Like they know what country it is, they know what bomb it is,
Wow.
and they know how many like buildings that are gonna be like under the rubble,
Yeah.
and they know like the stats. It's friggin' insane. And when they're talking, they're just like, they don't. It's really, the crazy thing about it is they don't preach hate at all in the
No,
in the
not at all.
documentary. It's very, we just want the bombs to stop dropping on our country. Like that's it. It's not let's rise up and take over. That's not the perspective at all. It's just like, I'd like houses to stop blowing up. That'd be really good. But obviously it's a lot.
I think maybe one of the eye-opening things
Speak louder and closer to the
for
microphone.
me was definitely looking at this from a white Christian perspective. The heroes of this story, they're Muslim guys from Syria, and it's just amazing. It's a totally different perspective, especially for people who listen to people like Donald Trump or hear things about Muslims in the media or anything like that. Just seeing, like Ali said, this value of life, and it's just these people, and they're just normal people. They're just like you and me, and I think that was the most amazing thing for me, is just the value of a life and people, and they're just people, and just like you and just like me, and it was very emotional. And it's the same thing as when I was over there meeting the people. That's just the most incredible thing. The people are just amazing, and every single one of them has a story. And I always think that I can't be impacted anymore, like I can't be shaken anymore. But then I watch this, and it's more horror stories, and it's still terrible, but it's still amazing.
So who's dropping the bombs?
So one of the lines they say is they go, Russia in the air, ISIS on the ground. So ISIS targets them as well. So the people that Russia are trying to bomb are the kind of crazy people. So the people they're targeting target the white helmets as well.
I think ISIS targets the white helmets. They try and kill them because they know they're saving lives. Russia's supposedly bombing ISIS, but they're...
The way it
also-
seems like they're bombing the whole city.
So statistically, Russia came into it saying they were going to attack ISIS, but they've attacked the rebels who are fighting the Syrian government at a much higher rate. So I'm assuming the white helmets are with the moderate rebels, or they might be in an area that is currently controlled by moderate rebels.
The group
if they're
that
getting
it
bombed.
followed was in Aleppo.
They're technically
Yeah, so
neutral.
half
I
of
looked at the
Aleppo,
website.
half of Aleppo is controlled by rebels, half of it's controlled by the government. So depending on which one the civilians happen to be in, that's who's going to be attacking, I guess. Yeah, you've got Syria and Russia on one side fighting moderate rebels and ISIS. You've got Turkey fighting... Oh, sorry. So yeah, Syria and Russia fighting moderate rebels and ISIS. You've got Turkey fighting the Kurdish people. Sort of fighting ISIS sometimes. It's weird, and they don't like the Syrian government either. But they're friendly with Russia. The Kurdish people are fighting ISIS, and they're allied with the moderate rebels, and Turkey hates them.
It seems like everyone's against ISIS, but everyone else isn't together with each other.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a...
So like there's one big bad guy, and everyone else doesn't exactly like each other.
Well, the big bad guy's not actually a big bad guy.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Which is why everyone's getting
He's
killed,
not the
because
worst,
they're bombing areas.
Right now, Russia is flattening Aleppo.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most touching things about this thing, with all this craziness. These guys just want to save people. They just want to save one person, whoever's under there. I just want to save their life.
How would you contrast their attitude and demeanor and like outlook on life to like say Australian person who might think that Muslims are the source of all problems?
Pauline.
And you have to stop all
P.
Muslims.
Hansen.
Yeah.
Or Sonia Kruger or any of the others.
Good old
It
Pauline.
just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, right.
Because
Because
if you watch this and honestly think we shouldn't let people from Syria into our country, there's something seriously wrong with you. Because, so, in one part, these guys, they go to get trained because they're volunteers. They didn't,
They
like
have
these
no
guys,
experience
they all had
in
normal
rescue.
jobs before this.
Yeah.
And so they go and get training for like a month,
In
but that's a
Turkey.
month where they're not saving people. And every night they're getting phone calls of lists of people who died while they're off training.
Mhm.
Like, think about that.
Who trained them?
Turkey?
Yeah,
Turkey.
they trained in Turkey with other people who had
Right.
experience, proper
Yeah.
rescue people.
Yeah, like how to use the tools and stuff, and
Mm.
like how to hear people under the ground. Which, the way it works is it's all about getting under rubble because the buildings just explode and kind of fall. And yeah, just go watch it. I don't want to talk about that anymore, but I did want to ask Jono something interesting I saw today. It was Gorbachev was coming out talking about how it seems like Russia and America could actually go to war over this. Is that even possible, do you think?
They would. It's really hard to say because they haven't fought each other directly ever. Even during the Cold War, they never fought each other.
Yeah. Which
But
it's
they did
interesting
fight
that he
proxy
said
wars.
it because Gorbachev, quick history lesson, is the one that ended the Cold War, right?
Yeah, he was the president of Russia
Till like the
Yeah.
late 80s or early 90s.
when the Berlin Wall came down and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and the
so
Soviet
he's
Union
pretty
collapsed.
great for Russia, right? He's a pretty great guy.
Yeah. Russia's in a really bad state politically in terms of like political freedoms and stuff. So a lot of the ground that they gained in becoming like democratic and free in terms of press and all that sort of thing, that's kind of been wound back a lot under Putin. So like if you're an opposition politician or something like that, you get shot. Like 2 years ago, one of them got shot right in
I
front of the
remember
Kremlin. And other ones get put in jail. They're not allowed to run. So, like, I think the last election they had, only 4 parties were allowed to run, and all of them were pro-Putin. One of them, like, it's not,
What
like,
a coincidence.
Putin has a party, and the other parties support Putin, so they
Well, it seems like you have
sort
to,
of
right?
support his party. Like,
can't
they're
lose.
not free elections anymore, and that's, like...
Mm.
And so his sort of, like, Putin's standing with his country comes down to, like, a lot of people who are alive now and vote. They were alive when the Soviet Union seemed to be more equal with America, and I think he sort of gives people nostalgia for like what they used to be, because they used to be the equal superpower with the US, and after the Soviet Union collapsed, they weren't really. They're like the 12th biggest economy in the world. We're similar to them. Australia's economy is a similar size to Russia's economy.
But
Right.
but if you looked at military power, it would be.
Oh,
further.
Russia's second.
Yeah.
US is way ahead.
Mm.
But then once you're talking about nuclear powers, they
It
can't
doesn't matter,
directly.
right?
It's like a game of chess. It's like
Yeah, it doesn't-
avoiding actual contact.
That's
but
right,
like,
yeah.
so Russia does stuff that would, like, if it was any other country that didn't have nukes, like, and America would probably bomb the crap out of them, right?
Mm.
So like what they did in the Ukraine, like they actually invaded the Ukraine. They just said they weren't doing it. They said it was volunteers who were going over. Like it was the crappiest excuse, and everyone knew they were lying.
Yeah.
But there's literally nothing you can do about it. So
Except start a nuclear war.
yeah, exactly. And the same thing in Syria. So in Syria, they've deployed anti-aircraft missiles at their bases, which basically is against America because they're the only other people with like aircraft who would attack them.
Mm.
And they've deployed nukes to this spot in Europe. But that was apparently they do that every year. But that was Russia saying that, so I don't know if that's true. But like there's like a lot of raised tension, I guess. So you could get a Cold War. You could get boots on the ground, like Vietnam style, or Korea,
Mm.
or Afghanistan, the first Afghan war,
Mm.
or like all these other wars that happened during the Cold War.
Interesting.
So that's a possibility. This is essentially a Cold War, kind of. Because if everyone actually got together, like ISIS would get wiped out.
Yeah.
Like no chance.
I was trying to think in the ways of like a StarCraft game or something, and how, and looking at history and how things become a world war. And I was trying to think like if it could happen in like the next 10 years. But the only other thing I could think that would kind of join with Russia would be ISIS and, I guess not ISIS, but like the Philippines. But I guess no one else is that crazy, right?
Yeah, I don't think it would go that way. Like just like it's not that world anymore.
Right.
As soon as you have nukes, you can't have a war like that.
Right.
But you do have, and Syria is like even more complicated because you got America versus Russia, you got Sunnis versus Shiites, which is so the
Go.
You keep talking.
So the Sunnis
turning the
and
candle
Shiites
down.
are like the two big sects of
Too big what?
Sex.
sects of Muslims.
He said
Yeah,
sex.
Islam. So the Iranians are the big superpower on the Shiite side. They support the Syrian government. The Turkish and Saudi Arabian governments are Sunnis.
Sunnis.
So there's like a big war sort of between them, almost this big struggle to be this main superpower.
It seems inevitable that in our lifetime, all the nukes are gonna go off, and everybody will die, except Elon Musk on Mars.
Maybe.